up guys, Asher here, and today I'm bringing you my 1 month review of the Apple AirPods Max. I bought these the day that they were announced for 899 Australian dollars, and I've had them for about a month now, been using them every day, so I've got a pretty good sense of what's good, what's bad, and who these particular headphones are for. And now when they first were announced, most people were freaked out about the price. For Australian dollars, at least 899 bucks is more than double what you can get some of the nearest Bluetooth headphone competitors for. So on the face of it, it looked pretty expensive, but for people like me who have had high-end audio for quite a while, these Sennheiser HD800S headphones I bought in 2017 for $21.99. You can get them cheaper now, but these are one of the highest end headphones you can get. It was also $15.99 for the digital analog converter headphone amp combo. The one that I used is the WA7 Woo Audio Fireflies tube amp. So coming off like a really high-end setup, seeing $899 for a mid-fi sort of range of headphones wasn't that crazy, but considering the competition, it is a very expensive pair. So it's important, I guess, to see how good are the AirPods Max versus like an audiophile desktop headphone, and how much better are they than your standard Bluetooth headphones. So for starters, I'd probably say that it's only worth getting these if you're already into the Apple ecosystem. If you have an iPod, an iPhone, an iPad, a Mac, and you're switching between the devices, these can be really useful because they will automatically, you don't even have to pair them or repair them or go to the settings. You can seamlessly switch between using all your Apple devices, and the headphones will automatically repair and pair without you having to really do anything. And that can be really handy, especially for me because I've got an iPad Air 4, a Mac Mini M1, and an iPhone 12 Pro Max. And I'm often switching between all three of them throughout the day. I'd probably only get these if you're already in the Apple ecosystem and you've got multiple devices. You know, you're sitting down at your desk on your Mac, and then you pick up your phone and walk away to do something else, and you've got your headphones still on, and you'll automatically just hear sound from whatever device that you're currently using. So it's really designed, like all Apple products, to be used within their walled garden, and you get the most out of it. And I'd say, like, if you're not an Apple user off the bat, you'd probably be better off getting like a Sony XM4 for half the price, which will give you pretty much the same, or if not a little bit worse, sound. The compatibility with Apple devices comes just off the bat when you're first installing these. You just have to hold them next to one of your existing Apple devices, and the setup is pretty much all automatic, and within seconds you can move between all your devices easily. The feature's definitely not without its bugs, and I definitely had a few of them with my testing. For example, the AirPods don't always connect properly to the iPad and iPhone seamlessly. Like, I'll often have to take them off and put them on again a few times before it actually connects and the sound starts coming through them rather than the speakers on the device. Sometimes I have to connect to the AirPods Max in Bluetooth settings before the sound starts coming out. Sometimes it's you take them off and put them on a few times because it automatically detects when they're on and off. And sometimes the AirPods will just randomly disconnect when I'm listening to something and using the device, like tabbing from, say, YouTube out to a different app. The sound will stop altogether, and I'll have to reconnect. I had some other bugs with these where sometimes the AirPods are connected, but the music's still coming out of the phone or the iPad speakers. Sometimes I've had to turn Bluetooth on and off on the iPhone to get it to work. Sometimes I have to turn Bluetooth off on the iPhone completely in order to get my AirPods Max to actually switch to my Mac Mini M1. But most of the time, I would say they work seamlessly, but I think some of the early reviews didn't detect that there are bugs. It's not completely seamless. One other issue I found with these, with the automatically switching between devices, is sometimes I deliberately am using multiple devices at the same time. Like I'll be listening to something on my iPhone or my iPad from YouTube or anywhere, and I'll be working on web browsing on my Mac, and I have had annoying issues like constantly getting a pop-up saying your AirPods Max are nearby on the Mac when I'm not even trying to use them on the Mac. I just still want to listen to whatever I'm listening to on my iOS devices, but the pop-up, sometimes you can't dismiss it, and it just keeps coming up no matter what you try to do to get rid of it, saying that your AirPods Max are nearby. I captured a video of it. I'll try to put it in the corner of the screen just so you can see what it does. Sometimes I'll be listening to something on my iPhone, and if I use my iPad at the same time, it'll completely stuff up my listening. Like it'll disconnect or from both the devices, or it will stop playing what I'm listening to. So it's highly convenient in that it's automatic, but at the same time, sometimes it doesn't do exactly what you want. So that's the trade-off. The other thing I'd say about these is that they've got the best noise cancelling I've ever had in my life. I've had them on with the noise cancelling mode switched on, and I've had to, someone's been screaming at me behind me trying to get my attention, and I haven't been able to hear them at all. But also when you click the button on the side, you can go into transparency mode, which basically allows you to hear what's happening around you while also hearing your content. But it's not just the noise cancelling that's the best I've heard, but the transparency mode is also top notch. Like your audio from your device comes through really clearly, but so does the outside sound without drowning out or muddying out what you're listening to. And I've had full conversations with people without taking the headphones off at all, and having used other Bluetooth headsets, I would definitely say that you won't find better noise cancelling or transparency mode performance than on the AirPods Max. Another feature that's unique to the AirPods Max is this spatial audio feature, which is it's like simulated surround sound, and it doesn't work with everything, but for, when watching stuff, for example, through the Apple TV app in movies that support surround sound, they're absolutely amazing. It's probably not a reason alone to buy the headphones, because most of the content you listen to will be in stereo. But for content that's like for consuming content like movies on your couch, these are awesome. These sort of sit in a bit of a weird position in that they're not truly portable because they lack water and sweat proofing, and the design, like the metal ear cups, are pretty heavy. There's a reason why they design headphones mostly with plastic, but it's sort of balanced out by the fabric canopy, which is light. But the ear cups are definitely pretty heavy. So without being waterproof, like I've taken it out with me to walking the dogs, I'm listening to stuff, but only if I'm pretty sure it's not going to rain. And there's been times where it started drizzling and I've had to sort of worry what I'm going to do with my headphones, because the other thing is the case itself that it comes in doesn't offer much protection at all. So they're not really portable despite being Bluetooth. These metal things on the side can easily be scratched, but at the same time, they're not the best desktop headphones, such as obviously what I've been using to date, which is the Sennheiser HD800S. Like all Bluetooth headsets, they have like a clamped down feeling on your ear, like to obviously help with the noise cancelling and to keep them on your head without moving around when you're walking. So they're not exactly comfortable for 12-hour all-day use. They're definitely the most comfortable Bluetooth headset that I've used, but compared to like a proper desktop studio pair of headphones that are designed for all day use, they're not really comparable. So they're not exactly completely portable, but they're not the best for desktop use, especially because the Bluetooth as well has like a slight latency, which won't bother you when you're watching content, but if you're editing video and things like that, you will definitely want a wired pair of headphones. These don't come in the box. They only come with a charging cable, lightning, which doesn't allow you to connect wired to your computer to listen. So you have to buy a separate cable, and that will get rid of the latency and make them more like a desktop headphone. But they're really designed to be used, in a portable setting, either on the couch or I found the sweet spot for these is when you're listening at home. And to compare the two, definitely I found the Sennheiser HD800S, I could wear these forever and not feel sore or fatigued. They're just the most comfortable headphones, and a lot of these open-backed desktop headphones are, that's why they're designed like that, for all-day use. But the AirPods Max, while they're comfortable, I've used them for over 6 hours at a time, and I think by then they start to get a little bit hot and a bit there's a bit of pressure on your ears and things like that. So I wouldn't say they are better than a desktop pair of headphones, and they're not really better than a truly portable pair of headphones. So I still keep a cheap Bluetooth waterproof headset that I use for my exercising or when it's raining. But I find I mostly use these at home, kicking back and consuming content, listening to Spotify, watching Netflix. I think that's where these AirPods really come into their own, and it's no surprise that they've sold out like hotcakes during COVID, because they're a really good pair to use during lockdown. They're not so good to use as your main headset when you're going out and about, just because of how fragile and heavy, and the case isn't good. They're not waterproof. So just think about your sort of use cases before you buy one of these. The other thing you've probably noticed just already from me holding these up is that they get dirty. I ordered the silver pair without really thinking about that, and I don't consider myself to be a dirty person, but somehow just with using these for a month, they've gotten pretty skanky. The headband is okay still. It's a little bit discolored, but the ear cups are definitely bad. They come off pretty easily. They're magnetic, so you can easily replace them. They're pretty expensive, and I don't think they're available yet, at least when I checked, to actually buy on Apple's website. I've also ordered the cable so I can plug them in, but that wasn't shipping for months when I ordered them. So I've just had to make do for the time being. But I think I'll probably order the space gray or a different color ear pads next time, because they're not really sexy after you see all this dirt on them. I think you'll definitely see people mixing and matching colors with the replacement ear cups. But overall, I think the build quality of these is really solid. The metal, even though they're heavy and I'm worried about scratching them, the metal just construction just feels absolutely solid. I think there's anodized aluminium, and it's just got this premium feeling. The fabric canopy is fragile, definitely, but it's comfortable as hell to wear. And I love the crown controls, it's like a bigger version of what's on the Apple Watch. I think the scroll wheel is really cool to adjust the volume. It's really intuitive, and this is the button here to turn on between noise cancelling and transparency mode. So I've been using these every day for the past month, testing them in all sorts of situations. I got hold of the highest quality audio files that I could, the most lossless, vinyl rips, high bitrate, FLAC files, because I really wanted to compare apples to apples with a high quality source with the Sennheisers, just to see, how much better or worse these are, and it was definitely noticeable straight off the bat that these reference headphones, obviously as you'd expect, being studio headphones, they have a flatter, cleaner sound, whereas when you're listening through the AirPods Max, it's like a thump to the side of your head, so like more of a deeper, boosted sound. Like you can definitely tell the computational audio going on with these ones, but a lot of the time you'll want just a standard flatter, genuine sound, and audiophiles I think would prefer what comes out of these. And if you're just going blind testing, there's no question that these are better headphones. There's a reason why these cost $2,200 plus the cost of the amp. These are audiophile grade headphones. But what was surprising to me is how close these are. And it's not just through listening, because most people will not be listening to these with lossless high bitrate files. You'll be streaming from Spotify and Netflix. And I think you can definitely notice the difference with these. They're noticeably better in all situations. Don't get me twisted. But for most people, you'll be more than happy with these. And these, just with all the computational audio that they do on these, it just makes, at least, maybe not for production of content, but for consumption of content, these are really awesome. For both of the headphones, there's no distortion at high volumes. There's wide sound stage. It's well balanced. These are not bass heavy like I sort of thought they would be. But while the Sennheisers sound better, they obviously have no Bluetooth. They've got no microphone. They've got no noise cancelling, and they're a lot more expensive. Whereas these ones obviously have the noise cancelling built in. They've got microphones built in. They've got the portability of Bluetooth, and they sound amazing. So you're definitely getting a lot of value for $899 Aussie, even though they do look expensive compared to the competitors. But I would say for all but the most hardcore Apple fanboys, a good pair of wired desktop headphones will sound better regardless. In Spotify, high quality audio files, you definitely will you can get better sound for a cheaper price with a standard issue audiophile headset. You don't have to spend so much on the HD800S, but there are other models that give you better sound than this for a lot cheaper price, but obviously they won't have the Bluetooth, the noise cancelling, the microphones built in like the AirPods Max. So I think for the sound these things offer, even though a good pair of wired headphones is better, even for streaming, I think that the sound quality of these definitely surprised me, because I haven't really heard this sort of sound come out of a Bluetooth headset before. But as you'd expect from an open back pair of headphones, you can't beat the wide sound stage, things sounding like they're coming from around the room, being able to discern the individual instruments. You definitely get that better on these, the HD800S. But obviously the downside of an open back pair of headphones like these is that your sound will bleed into the room that you're in as well, and everyone can hear what you're listening to. Whereas these, they're both noise cancelling and they keep the sound from bleeding out into the room. I know Sennheiser's released the HD820, which you might want to check out, which is supposed to have the benefits of an open back headphone in a closed back design. But generally, I don't think you can beat the open back Sennheisers for soundstage and separation. And you can notice the difference a lot more when you're not listening to EDM, electronic music. Like if you listen to rock music and the instruments sound really nice through these. Like when I first bought these, I thought, I was hearing things in music that I'd never even heard before, listening through standard speakers. But these are definitely punch above any comparable Bluetooth headset. But this was never really a fair comparison. These are way more expensive for a start than the AirPods, and they're just obviously designed for a different type of user, but I think it's still useful to compare, like, how much better do these sound compared to the AirPods Max. And while these do definitely sound a lot better, these AirPods Max, I would say, are the best Bluetooth headset you can buy on the market, hands down. Are they, are they worth double the price of, say, the Sony XM4? I would say for most people, you would probably be happy with the Sony XM4 Bluetooth headset over these and saving your money. But if you are even thinking about how good these are compared to an audiophile headset, that means you obviously care a lot about high quality audio and you can discern the differences. So if you are looking for high-end audio from a Bluetooth headset, you won't get better than these AirPods Max, hands down. I mean, they've got class-leading spatial audio, noise cancellation, transparency mode. Again, top of class. You won't beat them. The computational audio is amazing. So despite some of the bugs that I've had, I was blown away by these. But as I was saying, the Sennheisers have a more flat sound. They're easy to listen to for long periods of time. You know, they're open back, obviously, so they're great for someone who's sitting at their desk for studio use. And the AirPods, they're more for consuming content on the couch and within the home. They've got a much more colorful, vibrant, stronger sound. Vocals sound awesome on these AirPods Max. Whether it's vocals in music or just listening to people talking on YouTube, I could listen to these all day. The bass is not the best, but still pretty good. The soundstage and separation, as I was saying before, are awesome on these, but probably not as good as a dedicated open back reference headphones like these. These are perfect for the die-hard Apple fan, but if you're not really an Apple user, Sony was recently selling refurbished XM4s on eBay for $309, and there were even new ones on sale at Addicted to Audio for 349 Aussie dollars recently. So, less than half the price. You can get like pretty much similar audio quality on the Sony XM4s. So what a lot of people are recommending is get the Sony XM4s and then get the AirPods Pro as well for the same price, and then you have the sort of the best of both worlds. But if you are an Apple user and you've got multiple Apple devices and you've got the money to spend, and also the fashion statement as well, these are definitely for the flex, not just for the audio quality and the use case. So if you're a hardcore Apple user, you've got the money to spend, you definitely won't go wrong with these. But I definitely wanted to point out that, for a more value conscious person, you still get just as good sound from something like the Sony XM4 for half the price. So there's a whole range to these things. You can get awesome sound for $400 from the Sonys. You can spend double and get these, or you can, spend triple, quadruple. So, value, I guess, is in the eye of the beholder. It depends on how much of an audiophile you are, how much you're using them, whether you can discern the differences. It's definitely worth, if you can, listening to them to see if you can hear yourself the differences between them. I will still be using these as my main headphones, no doubt. I paid a shitload of them for them only a few years ago, and I see them holding up for many years to come. But for being on the go, consuming content on the couch, at the park, in bed, I think these are really compelling, and I don't regret buying them at all. If you're doing any sort of content production, these might not be the best, because they do have, with the computational audio, they do have boosted lows and high ends, I've found, and they're not, obviously, with the latency, unless you plug them in with a separate cable. So they're not the best if you want the flattest, cleanest sound like you would get out of a pair of these, for example. But for most people consuming content over Spotify and other streaming services, you're not going to really notice these issues. Also, the microphones on these are awesome. They do a really good job of picking up your voice blocking out ambient sound. Forcing you to use lightning to plug these in for power is a bit cruel, considering they're switching over to USB-C for a lot of their devices, and most people aren't really using lightning anymore. For me, it's not as much of an issue because I actually use the Magic Keyboard and trackpad, which both plug in via lightning. It is annoying though that they don't include a 3.5mm cable to plug in for your audio, and you have to buy that separately. As soon as I got these, I ordered the cable, but it's got the same lead time now as the AirPods Max themselves, which is sold out for months in advance. And it is annoying that you can't just use the charging cable for listening to audio as well, but they really are designed to be used as a Bluetooth headset using Bluetooth, and the cable I think is only for people who are really keen to get rid of that latency that you have with any Bluetooth headset. Overall, I'd say if you're an Apple user and you've got multiple Apple devices that you're switching between, and you also use Apple's apps to consume content such as Apple TV, I think these are a no-brainer. You will not go wrong with these headsets, and you'll be happy that you purchased them, even though they are a bit pricier than other comparable Bluetooth headsets. They're definitely, as I've shown you, nowhere near as much as some of the high-end audiophile gear that you can buy. But if you're not within Apple's ecosystem, you're using other devices, and you're not really trying to switch between Apple, iOS, and Mac devices, then I would say you're better off getting a decent pair of wired headphones, which will sound better even with streaming. A decent pair of wired headphones, I think, would be better than these. Plus, you can get the AirPods Pro on top of them for pretty much the same price as the AirPods Max. So I think a lot of people are opting to go to that method. But if money's no object and you want to have the flex of looking cool with these, you want to have a seamless integration with all your Apple devices, and you want sort of the best sound that you can really get from a Bluetooth headset, these really shine. Listening to content, consuming content on the couch, you can't go wrong with these. If I don't stand here the whole time, the birds will scare her away from the food. Confit duck legs. Salt cured.